Hello everyone, welcome to Language Lantern where we illuminate the depth of literature. And today we are going to look at Haunted House by H.W. Longfellow. So let's look into few details about the poet. Longfellow was born in the year 1807 and he was one of America's most beloved 19th century poets. He is known for writing in a lyrical, emotional style, often about nature, history, and human experience. So, what is the tone and message that we get? It's definitely not a horror poem, but it is of deep reflection. So, Longfellow here is reminding us that death is not the end. Our loved ones never really leave us. This poem teaches us empathy, memory, and the mystery of life and afterlife. So, let's look at the first stanza. There are around 10 stanzas, and this is for 10th graders ICSE curriculum. So this is coming for the board exam. So let's look at the first stanza, and you should be knowing that it's a AB rhyme scheme. Died, glide, doors, floors. Okay. All houses wherein men have lived and died are haunted houses. Through the open doors, the harmless phantoms on their errands glide with feet that make no sound. So let's look at the first stanza. So the poet here tells us that each and every house is a haunted house. Why? Because men have lived and died. Maybe in that particular house or in every other house, there are people who have lived and there are people who have died. So, lived and died talks about the cycle of life. Cycle of life. And the phrase through the open doors, the harmless phantoms on their errand glide with feet that make no sound upon the floors. Through the open doors, talk about the memories or spirits. Memories or spirits who basically move freely. Okay. Again, it conveys that these spirits are not trapped or they are not imprisoned. So they have free movement. Even the memories, the spirit, they have free movements. Okay, that is why the harmless phantoms, what do? They move freely, they are not trapped anywhere. The harmless phantoms. So here the poet calls them harmless or gentle. Phantoms is nothing but spirits. On their errands glide with feet that make no sound. So the gentle, harmless spirits move doing their errands or activities, their daily chores. They carry on what they were doing when they were living. They just do the same thing now that they are no more. So it's like memories floating softly in the house. So their movements is nothing but memories floating softly in the house with feet that make no sound upon the floor. They silently move without disturbing the living beings, which basically symbolizes how memories quietly influence us without being disruptive. Memories quietly influence us without being disruptive. Okay, let's move on to the second stanza. meet them at the doorway, on the stairs, along the passages. They come and go, impalpable impressions on the air, a sense of something moving to and fro. So here the poet deepens the eerie effect, or the eerie atmosphere. Okay, and he describes how the spirits of the dead are still present, not visible, not in the visible form, but or frightening form, but as gentle and intangible. Okay, so the words doorway, stairs, passages, they talk about everyday space. We move, we meet them. This phrase suggests that spirits are all around us, they are lingering at every corner of our houses. Okay, they are doing nothing but lingering in corners of our houses. Okay, they come and go, meaning there is movement. Again, they are not trapped. Okay, there is movement and the spirits can freely walk around. Impalpable impressions on the air suggest that their presence cannot be felt through touch, or we cannot see them clearly, but it can be sensed. Their presence can be sensed. How can we sense them? Like a soft change in the atmosphere, like a soft change in the atmosphere. So we can just feel that, okay, they are there in our homes. Okay, a sense of something moving to and fro. So this particular line reinforces the idea that there is movement, something unseen drifting back and forth, like that of memories, which basically echo through time. Our memories echo through time. So the entire stanza, the overall effect of the stanza, or the poet is actually painting a picture of a ghost, not as frightening being, but as gentle reminder of the past. So this particular stanza talks about the gentle reminder of the past. So let's look at stanza 3. So stanza 3 goes like this. Here there are more guests at table than the hosts invited. The illuminated hall is thronged with quiet, inoffensive ghosts, as silent as the picture on the wall. So here in this particular stanza, the poet continues to build the idea that the dead are still present in our homes. The dead are still present in our homes, though unseen and definitely harmless. So, there are more guests at the table than the host invited. That means that when we gather, perhaps for a celebration or a get together, there are spirits among us, there are unseen spirits among us. Quietly, they are quietly joining us. The host may invite only few, but the presence of the departed makes the gathering larger than it appears. So the word illuminated hall refers to a brightly lit room, possibly full of life and people. But despite the light and activity, it is also thronged with quiet, inoffensive ghosts. Many gentle spirits are there, peacefully coexisting with the living. These ghosts are described as quiet and inoffensive, showing that they are not meant to scare or haunt us. They are not here to scare us or haunt us in a very traditional sense. Instead, they are passive observers, like memories that linger. So, here the comparison, as silent as the picture on the wall, is a powerful simile. The literary device used is simile. It suggests that these spirits, like the portraits on the wall, say nothing but carry a lot of meaning, and they carry a lot of memories. Just as old family portraits remind us of the past, so do these ghosts' presence. They are silent witnesses to the lives of the ones who have lived. Okay, like the hanging portraits in the wall, like that. So, what is the key idea of this particular stanza? This stanza gently reminds us that our homes are filled with layers of memories and love, and those who have passed away may still be with us, not in body but in spirit and feeling. Okay, let's look at the next stanza. The poet says, "The stranger at my fireside cannot see the forms I see, nor hear the sounds I hear. He but perceives what is, while unto me all that has been is visible and clear." So the stranger represents someone who is emotionally and spiritually disconnected from the past. Emotionally or spiritually disconnected from the past. So the poet implies that only those who are attuned to memories, history, or spirituality can sense what he basically senses. So the fireside is symbolic of home, comfort, or reflection. Okay, the forms I see nor hear the sounds I hear. So the poet sees forms. What are forms here? Forms can be ghosts or spirits, okay, or it can even be memories, or hear sounds, perhaps voices from the past. So these experiences are invisible and inaudible to the others or the stranger in this scenario. Okay, which basically emphasizes the personal and subjective nature of memory and spiritual connection. The personal and subjective nature of memory, or even spiritual connection. He but perceives what is. Okay, so the stranger lives only in the present reality. The stranger is living in the present reality, seeing only the physical world. He lacks the depth and emotion, or spiritual perception. Okay, while unto me all that has been is visible and clear. So the poet, in contrast, sees not just the present but also the past vividly. He's able to see present and past, vividly and clearly, as if memories or spirits from the past are still alive to him. So, this underscores the theme of past haunting the present. Past haunting the present. There is contrast between the stranger and the speaker, one who sees only the present and the other who sees present and past together. So basically, this entire paragraph is like, suppose um, I have lost my dear one at home, like my father, for example, and then there is my friend who comes to my house. So my friend is not spiritually or emotionally connected to my house like how I am connected. I'm able to see maybe my father, what he would say. I have a lot of memories of my father. So, but I am spiritually connected to the house. So that is why the poet says, the stranger at my fireside cannot see the forms I see, nor hear the sounds I hear. He but perceives what is, while unto me all that has been is visible and clear. The next stanza: we have no title deeds to house or lands. Owners and occupants of early dates, from graves forgotten, stretch their dusty hands and hold in Marchmain still their old estate. So, this stanza reminds us that our claim to property and possession is only temporary, and that those who lived before us once owned the same thing. So we have no title deeds to house or land means that in a deeper or spiritual sense we do not truly own anything. We do not truly own anything. Although we may hold legal document or titles, these are only for our time. The phrase owners and occupants of early dates refers to those who have lived long before us. Long before us. People who once walked through the same homes, fields, or lands. From graves forgotten stretch their dusty hands. So here the poet imagines that from graves forgotten, the long dead reach out with their dusty hands. A vivid, clear image symbolizing their lingering presence and the past hold over the present. Old in Mortmain, still their old estate is especially powerful because the word Mortmain is a legal term meaning dead hand, referring to property held by the dead or people who have passed down in such a way that it can't be sold or changed. So here it's used metaphorically. The ghosts still hold the place they once lived, not in law but in memory and spirit. Please understand, not in law but in memory and spirit. So, what is the key idea of this particular stanza? This stanza teaches us humility, reminding us that we are just temporary guests in homes and lands that belong to others before us, and we will belong to others after us. So, the past continues to live on, silently shaping the present. The past continues to live on, shaping the present. Number 6. Okay, the spirit world around this world of sense floats like an atmosphere and everywhere wafts through these earthly mists and vapor dens, a vital breath of more ethereal air. So this stanza deepens the idea that the spiritual world exists all around us. Spiritual world exists all around us. Okay, spiritual world is the world of sense is nothing but you know um, the physical world where we can touch and see, the real world, our world, where we can touch and see things, and there is something which is invisible, that is the spiritual world. The invisible world is the spiritual world. So the spiritual world surrounds the world of sense or the physical world. It floats like an atmosphere and everywhere wafts through these earthly mists. So it floats like an atmosphere, suggesting it is always present, which is subtle and gentle, like the air we breathe, even though we often forget it's there. The line wafts through these earthly mists and vapor dens, shows that this spiritual presence passes through the confusion and heaviness of everyday life. So, earthly mist and vapor dens is symbolized by confusion and heaviness of the physical world, of the real world, our everyday lives. Okay, a vital breath of more ethereal world. So this the last line beautifully describes the spiritual world as something purer, lighter, and more life-giving than the physical world. Ethereal meaning delicate or heavenly. So what is the key idea of this stanza? That the spiritual and physical world are not separate. You should understand, the physical and the spiritual world are not separate. They exist together. They coexist. With the spiritual gently moving through our lives like quiet, life giving breeze. The spiritual world is quiet and it is a life giving breeze. Okay, let's look at the next stanza. This is stanza number 7. Our little lives are kept in equipoise by opposite attractions and desires, the struggle of the instinct that enjoys and the more noble instinct that aspires. So, this stanza talks about the inner conflict that all human beings experience. Okay, here we are talking about the inner conflict that all human beings experience, a balance between two powerful forces inside us. Our little lives are kept equipoise. The word equipoise means balance. The poet is saying that our lives are kept in a delicate balance, just not balance, but a delicate balance by opposite attractions and desires. So these conflicting emotions, we are talking about these conflicting emotions or forces that pull us in two different direction. What are the two different? something selfish and something noble. Okay, these are the two conflicting emotions, something selfish and something noble. So the struggle of the instinct that enjoys, and the more noble instinct that aspires. So one force is a natural human desire. This is the natural human desire to enjoy pleasure, like comfort, it can be fun, it can be material happiness, and so on. And the noble instinct that aspires, the other is the higher spiritual desire to grow. We're talking about the higher spiritual desire to grow, to improve, to live a meaningful life, to live a moral life, to do good. That is the more noble instinct that we are talking about. Okay, let's move on to the next stanza. So what is the key idea of this particular stanza? This stanza reflects the duality of human nature. We are constantly torn between pleasure and purpose. So pleasure and purpose, between enjoyment and aspiration. And it's this inner tug of war that defines and stabilizes our journey through life. So this inner tug of war defines and stabilizes our journey through life. So let's look at stanza number 8. So let's start stanza number 8. These perturbations, this perpetual jar of earthly wants and aspirations high, come from the influence of an unseen star, an undiscovered planet in our sky. So this stanza builds on the previous one, deepening the idea of inner conflict and hidden influences on our lives. So perturbations and perpetual jar suggest disturbances or inner unrest. Our emotions, struggles, and confusions are not random, they are persistent and ongoing. Our emotions, struggles, confusions are ongoing and persistent. Of earthly wants and aspirations high. So, once again, the poet highlights the contrast between our material desire, that is the earthly wants, and the spiritual goal, which is aspirations high. So, these cause tension within us. So, this conflicting feeling or this conflicting emotions cause tension within us, come from the influence of an unseen star, an undiscovered planet in the sky. So, here Longfellow uses a metaphor. The unseen star represents the mysterious and invisible force. Mysterious and invisible force. Perhaps fate, the soul, or spiritual truth that affects our behavior and emotions, though we may not fully understand it. An undiscovered planet in our sky. The line continues the metaphor, just like the astronomer might feel the pull of a planet they can't see. We are influenced by forces we can't detect. Maybe memories, spirits, or deeper truth. So, what is the key idea of this particular stanza? This stanza talks about our struggles that are shaped by unseen spiritual or emotional forces. So, something beyond what we can see or measure. It blends our psychological tension with cosmic metaphor, implying that the ghosts or the spirits of the past could be a part of what stirs our soul. Okay, let's look at stanza number 9. And as the moon from some dark gate of cloud throws over the sea a floating bridge of light, across whose trembling planks of fancies crowd into the realm of mystery and night. So, this stanza is rich in imagery and symbolism, drawing on a beautiful natural metaphor to describe the way our imagination connects with the spiritual world. Here, it's talking about connection. And as the moon from the dark, some dark g- gate of cloud throws over the sea a floating bridge of light. So the first line suggests the moon emerging from behind a cloud is compared to a mysterious portal. Okay, mysterious portal opening. So, this sets a mystical tone, suggesting a shift from visible world to the invisible. Throws over the sea a floating bridge of light. So, when moonlight reflects on the sea, it appears like a shimmering path of bridge. So, this symbolizes a connection between the real world and the unknown, perhaps between the living and the dead, or reality and imagination. Talks about the connection across whose trembling planks are fancy's crowd. Yeah, the trembling plank suggests that the bridge of light is fragile, and what crosses it are not people but our thoughts and fantasies. Our imaginations venture onto the unstable bridge, trying to reach what lies beyond, into the realm of mystery and night. So, the bridge leads us to the unknown world, or a world of secrets and spirits, or even darkness. So, night here symbolizes afterlife, the subconscious or the mystical dimension of existence. So what is the key idea of this particular stanza? This stanza captures how imagination allows us to reach the world of spirits and mystery. So the moonlight acts as a metaphorical pathway to the unseen, showing how even in darkness there is a light that guides our thoughts to greater truth and spiritual connection. So let's look at the next stanza, which is the last stanza. Okay, let's look at the final stanza, number 10. So, from the world of spirits, there descends a bridge of light connecting it with this, over whose unsteady floor that sway and bends, wander our thoughts about the dark abyss. So, the final stanza offers a hopeful and divine conclusion. It suggests that the connection between the living and dead is not one of fear, but it is of comfort, guidance, or spiritual presence. So the stanza reinforces the poem's core message: the dead are not gone, they are present with us in gentle, guiding ways. The poem ends not with fear or sorrow, but with hope, suggesting that divine love and eternal life transcends death. So, from the world of spirits, there descends a bridge of light. So, the poet imagines a connection between the spiritual world and the living world, suggesting that messages or feelings come down from the spirits to the living through a bridge of light. So this bridge of light is symbolic, representing the link between spiritual realm and the physical world. Spiritual realm is it, and physical world is this. This is the spiritual realm, and this is the physical world. So the light suggests purity, hope, and perhaps memory, or even intuition, over whose unsteady flow that sways and bends. So it indicates that this connection is fragile, perhaps influenced by emotions and belief. It implies that the boundary between the two worlds is delicate and it can easily be disturbed. So, wander our thoughts about the dark abyss. So, our thoughts travel across this bridge, often venturing into the unknown. The unknown is definitely dark abyss, which could mean death. Abyss can mean death, it can mean afterlife, or the mystery of spirit world, of the spirit world. So this line evokes a sense of curiosity, amused with fear as we contemplate that lies beyond. So thank you so much for watching this video. So until next time, keep your lantern lit and curiosity brighter. See you in the next video. Thank you. Bye bye.